And again, I just like to remind people when we talk about multiverse, you don't necessarily have to mean there are parallel versions of ourselves, and for every choice that you could have made in your life, there's another version of yourself that made that choice in another universe. That is one particular branch of multiverse theory, but there are several branches. That one I don't agree with. I don't think there's any reason to believe that. Now, I do believe that our universe could be one of several, but it doesn't mean that any of those universes even have to be inhabited. It's like if you have a book, but one page in the middle, or anywhere really, one page has writing on it, and the rest of the pages are blank. But it's still a book, it's still a 3D object. What I think is actually going on is our universe is one slice in God's amazing creation, and when we're in eternity, we'll actually see that all the cosmos, all of the creation is actually a hyperdimensional creation. It's more than just the three dimensions that we can that we can experience. So, but again, I've written about that in many books, and I have talked about it a lot on this show before. So I don't want to get too far off on that. But the interesting thing is that black holes and wormholes might actually just be the same thing. So that's interesting. Leave me a comment. I want to know what you think about that. Next, quantum theory illuminates wormholes, observing a distant point of the universe in 4 dimensions. And this kind of goes back to what we were talking about before. So it says modern concepts of the universe provide for the existence of wormholes, unusual curvatures in space and time. Physicists imagine a wormhole as a black hole through which one can see a distant point in the universe in 4 dimensions. Now, I'm going to come back to that in just a minute, but there's something important to note with that. So it continues to say astrophysicists are still unable to determine the shape and sizes of black holes precisely, let alone theoretical wormholes. A physicist has now demonstrated that the shape of a wormhole can be calculated based on an observable physical characteristics. All right, and then you can read the rest of this article at Daily Galaxy if you want, but the main reason I brought up this article was mainly to deal with this statement here. Physicists imagine a wormhole as a black hole through which one can see a distant point of the universe in 4 dimensions. Now, if you were able to actually look through a wormhole, you might be able to see a distant point in the universe, but you wouldn't see it in 4 dimensions. So I don't know why this statement is phrased the way it is. Now, it might traverse through 4 dimensions to get to the other place in our 3-dimensional universe. That could happen, just like the folding a sheet of paper kind of thing that we talked about many times before now. That could happen, but it wouldn't change your perception. You wouldn't be able to see in 4 dimensions. You would still see a 3-dimensional universe. Interestingly enough, even if you were able to see into a higher dimension, your brain can't handle that much information, and it would look like to you, it would look like a 3-dimensional universe that's constantly shifting and changing shapes and changing colors, and I mean, it would be like, it would be really trippy. But your brain wouldn't actually see that 4th dimension. So I wanted to just mainly deal with that statement in light of what black holes and wormholes might be. Even if a wormhole does travel through an extra higher spatial dimension, that doesn't mean you would actually be able to see it. You would see it as if it were a 3-dimensional universe. Just like if you took somebody, if there was a 2-dimensional entity and you lifted him out of his universe into ours, he's still seeing everything as just like lines in front of him. But as you're moving him around, all those lines are changing shape and changing color because he's seeing everything in front of him, but he has no up or down. So it wouldn't change your perception. You would still, you could see a higher reality, but you would see it as still a 3-dimensional universe because your brain can't process 4 spatial dimensions. You would see it as 3, but all of the objects, like as you walked through it, you would notice as you're moving through this 4-dimensional reality, everything around you is changing shape and changing color, and it would be really weird. It'd probably be pretty horrifying.